Welcome to Security with Spirits, an Oak Barrel security podcast. I'm Jason.
This is Ben.
Jonathan.
And Tony. We'll tell you what to drink while we tell you why we drink.
Hey everybody, tonight I am drinking a original backpacker moonshine, apple pie moonshine from Sugarland Distilling, and it is absolutely delicious. Ben, what do you got in front of you?
Trekking on to my third beverage with Talisker. I've got it on the ice, and it definitely takes a lot of the briny edge off and makes it a much smoother drink. If you have tried it before and looking for a way to mute it, this would be the way to go. What are you drinking, Jonathan?
Rocky Spiked Sweet Tea, 2 ounces of Callahan's bourbon, and 6 ounces of iced tea, and a handful of ice and or sweet tea, and just enjoying it that way. Tony, what do you got on for us tonight?
Our signature cocktail for this episode is the Oak Barrel Green Team. After the AI-generated cocktail with absinthe last episode, I thought I'd go back and try a traditional Sazerac cocktail. But in the classic version, you swish the absinthe in the glass and then discard it. We're drinking it. Come on, this is good liquor. Beyond that, kept it pretty traditional, right down to the Sazerac whiskey and I'm going to butcher this name, Peychaud's bitters.
Is it Pequot?
Oh, that's so much better. Thank you. There's not a traditional absinthe mentioned in the recipes, but I went with Lucid because it's the first brand that was available in the United States when the ban on absinthe was lifted. And you can get the recipe, pictures, and even some cybersecurity stuff at oakbarrelsecurity.com. And don't forget that you can now leave us voicemail at 234-201-0707. Give it a shot, and we'll give you a shout.
All right, to kind of line into the drink for the night, the green team, we're going on this episode's theme is cybersecurity is not a department. It is everybody's responsibility. So even though you are the accountant, HR rep, whatever, you still have that. You still have to be vigilant. You still have to watch out. You still have to do your part to keep the organization and yourself secure. So we're taking the term green team, and that's ours now. So don't look on the internet. It's totally ours. We came up with it. That's ours. So let's talk about some of the ways that we can incorporate somebody who's new to cybersecurity or something like that, how to bring him into the fold. I think one of the things that comes to mind is security awareness. That's something that we all kind of push out, and we all, everybody has their security awareness programs in place, no matter how crappy they are. So I know it's always a struggle because you hate punishing people. I hate to say it, with more training videos and stuff. Is there any way to make that more fun or interesting or anything like that? I know, Tony, you had some ideas on making that a little bit more appealing to the end user.
Yeah, so even the newer phishing tests, people are over it, right? They're used to it. They're ignoring the emails. They're laughing about it with their friends. So you've got to get outside of your little bubble, and you have to actually, I think, engage with people on a personal level and meet them where they are. If you're dealing with the accounting team, you got to speak their language. If you're dealing with upper management, you've got to use the terms and metrics that they deal with. What I'm kind of curious about, though, starting off, it can be hard even getting other IT teams on board with cybersecurity. So how do you even start there?
Coworkers in the IT department are some of the hardest ones to adapt into a more cybersecurity focused approach to their work and their operations, as opposed to just doing whatever they can to get the ticket closed. Establishing good patterns and easy to follow procedures and easy to follow standards it's one way, I would say. Like if you bring someone new in and they see that you're already using kind of a group membership based security, or you're using privileged access accounts and things like that, getting them used to that and bringing them in and showing them this is how we do this because of this that can help them learn new, better cybersecurity practices, as well as hopefully make them think about that whenever they are working on other items. Like, oh yeah, I should not abuse my privileged access account, or I should use a service account for this, or group memberships, things like that.
And it's kind of key to get the whole IT department on board first, right? Because the likelihood is teams outside of cybersecurity are interacting with the rest of the enterprise more often than we are.
Right. And I think a lot of people have the mentality of, I'm going to, and I think maybe Ben, you mentioned earlier, I'm going to do my job. I don't care what it takes to get it done because I have a lot of projects, I have a lot of tasks, I have a lot of tickets. I'm just going to shortcut it, do it the easy way, whatever, and off it goes. And if something happens, well, that's the cybersecurity team. They can deal with that, and I'm going to go home for the day. But I think maybe one of the things that I've seen be successful before is don't operate cybersecurity in a vacuum. So when you're doing your tabletop exercises, or you're doing, just fun red team, blue team types things, purple team, whatever, bring everybody in the IT department in. Like, let them see, let them interact, let them, bring ideas to the table. Like whenever you're going over like these breach scenarios and stuff, and somebody, shouts out, install,
etc.,
or something like that, and just don't laugh at them. Don't just roll with it and be like, okay, I think you mean like endpoint protection. Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of my thing is if you bring everybody in, let them see the inner workings, let them see what exactly goes on in cybersecurity, because everybody's curious about it. Everybody, thanks to, and we've talked about it before in all the other podcasts, everybody sees that in the movies and stuff that, oh, the cybersecurity people are cool, so let's use that to our advantage.
Yeah, I love that idea of bringing them in to the fun stuff.
I was thinking back on what Tony was talking about with how people are ignoring phishing emails as we try to bring about security awareness, those little practice things. And it made me think, you remember the old posters? Well, I don't know if any of us actually remember them, but we've probably seen them through school, like loose lips, sink ships. It's like we almost need new things, like opened and clicked it, files encrypted, or something. Just stuff like that.
I think you had that one in the can. Did you just come up with that? That is really clever.
Yeah, I just came up with that. So.
That's impressive.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we need not so much that it's inundating us, but people really need that idea. And like, I love the idea of bringing in every level of IT into those tabletops, because then you get to hear what the cybersecurity team is thinking about when they go through these processes of how this happened. They start maybe looking at their own operations or even their own personal lives and think, oh, well, I don't do that, so I'm exposed to the same risk as that. And just elevating not only the IT departments, but just people in general, elevating their awareness of protecting their files and their privacy is a good way to improve not just people at their jobs and things, but the society as a whole.
I also like the idea of bringing in, the whole IT department, because let's be real here. They know where all the skeletons are. They know all the bad practices that are in place. And if we can show them sort of the real world impact of those things, then maybe they'll start disclosing them and working to fix them.
True.
Absolutely. I mean, what you all are describing there is just creating that culture of security where it's well known that it's the shared responsibility of the whole that the organization, I mean, for the organization to be secure, that's what it's going to take. And I've learned that to get that trust and that buy-in requires relationship. And so, you can't bombard people with all the cool jargon, buzzwords, but you build relationships by, collaborating on projects, providing feedback if they've got questions, and just being very open and open to communication with people. I mean, that's made a big difference because it's allowed people to feel like that it's safe for them to me when they see something maybe hinky that's being deployed or maybe not the best process. And, so I think that goes a long way.
We're definitely the cool kids these days. We're no longer the internet police of before. And we're trying to get away from that, being the department where our first answer is no or denied. That's not our thing. And maybe share some tools with them. Like show them some of those websites out there to check and see if credentials have been compromised, or give them like the password analyzer sites that, kind of show you what a strong password or passphrase is, or open up the, as long as you have it set up decently, open them up to the password management tool. Like, give them access to that. Don't give them access to your passwords, of course, but people, if you don't give them the tools, then people are going to start writing stuff down. And IT has a ton of passwords, so they could use that tool. Share it.
Yeah, not being the department of no is a great emphasis. We should be the department of solutions, where we put in securely designed solutions to issues that come up.
You always got to find that balance of usability and security. Man, it's a triangle. What's the other one? Is it stability, usability, and security? Yeah, that's it.
That's it, yeah. A circle, well, triangle life.
No, that's going to be stuck in my head, Ben.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Ben and Elton John.
Ben and John.
So kind of circling back to one of the things that was mentioned earlier about the phishing emails, and this kind of rolls into a little bit of patching. So I'd like to do the patching piece now, where last episode I kind of picked apart AI, and I was like, nah, it's just not, it's not for me. And I still haven't found a really good use for it in my day-to-day, but I do have an example of somebody who came to us and they said, well, this is how we use it. And he'd actually cultured a channel that would write his responses elegantly so he could put them in the tickets, because maybe his grammar or English or whatever is not so great. So he would throw it in there and he was like, make this sound good. And he would write what he wants to say. It would spit out something, copy and paste. There he goes. And now he looks really good in the tickets, and it's absolutely amazing. But if he can do that, then, and we did talk about this in the last episode, then the bad actors out there can do that as well. So we can no longer rely on, oh, this email has poor grammar. This is definitely a phish.
That's a big side effect.
Yeah.
Everybody can now speak, the King's English or whatever.
On the flip side of that, I have used AI to write like newsletter articles and things like that to build security culture and tailor it for a non-technical audience, or a particular group of people. So I have found that useful.
That's a good idea.
It's like, ask the AI, I need you to write up a policy on password management in the form of a graphic novel. Go.
So I think another thing that I've seen in the past that we need to talk about, and this kind of lines up with the Department of No and kind of the internet police and everything before. If you have a wall of shame, you're doing your cybersecurity awareness wrong. I know it used to be like when it was phishing day, everybody'd be like, oh, who's clicking, who's entering their credentials, and there would be the big wall of shame and like see how big a fish we can get, and like, oh, the VP did this, and oh, this, this C-level did this, oh my gosh. And that needs to go away. That's not what that's there for. That's not what it's meant for.
If you tie shame and embarrassment to these practices, what you end up with is people who maybe they do click something accidentally, but they immediately close and go home. They don't talk to anybody, and you end up getting called in the middle of the night with a batch of ransomware on your file server or something like that. People that if you're sending out these exercises, you need to take them seriously as a outreach to your business, your organization, that you are trying to help them.
I didn't have a dog until later in life. And one of the things I've learned from having a dog is that if he does something wrong, it's probably because of something I did. If he poops on the floor, I didn't let him out. That's my fault. Yeah. Stick with me here. By the same token, if our users do something wrong, like clicking on a phishing email, we have failed them somehow. We didn't give them the right tools or the right training. We haven't fostered that culture. It's their failures are our failures.
Right. It can't be something like we didn't put padding around every corner so that when the child comes running in and bumps their head, that kind of thing, they don't hurt themselves. It needs to be a learning experience. We can't protect them from 100% of threats. It's because it only takes one successful thing to take the whole thing down. So we have to engage them that yes, it's possible you will fail, but this is how we keep that from happening. This is some practices you can do to get better.
Yeah, the old cybersecurity metric, I guess, statistic or whatever that you use, it's like this is how many people clicked and this is how many people entered their credentials. That's not really useful anymore. You need to see this is how many people clicked, and then they called the service center, the help desk, and they reported it, and they're like, something's up. That is the useful metric. Like the people who actually followed protocol, because a real fish that's out there in the open, whenever you click on report fish, it's not going to say, good job, employee, you reported a fish. You need to have that feedback of like train them that they need to take action. They need to not just ignore it and go on with life. And also, Bob in accounting pooped in the corner. Bob!
But it goes back to what Ben was saying. Like, you have to instill the old school mentality. If you see something, say something.
Yeah.
The concept of like the cybersecurity world is it's always under attack. Your personal data is always under attack. But going back to what Tony said about having a dog or a pet or whatever, where when you are trying to train that pet, it's proven that it's much more effective to use positive reinforcement, things like treats and affection and things like that, to get good behavior. Was it more flies with honey or something like that? Isn't that the expression?
Yep. And have like whenever they call in and they're reporting something, they're scared, they're nervous. Have that curiosity and oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. What did you do? What do you think that like you clicked, or where do you think you entered? Or I just need to figure all this out, and reassure them that everybody can fall for a phishing attack. Everybody can be fooled. They are not, they are not less intelligent because they clicked on it. Everybody could have clicked on a well-crafted phishing attempt. So yeah, go with that, and then praise them. Absolutely. Let them know that thank you. We did the right thing. You reported it. We changed your password. We scanned your PC. We did all the procedures or playbooks. We ran all the playbooks through, and you you did the right thing. You saved your data and the organization's data, and shout it from the rooftops. Like, make sure it's well known.
I was going to say, it'd be interesting if you could have the minute calculations of like potential loss and like be like, this person, the actions you did saved us this much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, going back to getting away from no, like, I know for my part, if I'm told no and it's just because I said so, well then screw you, I'm going to do it anyways. If I'm told no and it's explained to me why and what we can do instead of, far more receptive.
Yeah. You always have to have that open mind and that creative thought process, and that does go back to another episode that we had, that you need to be well-rounded. You can't just be a very, very cybersecurity minded individual. You have to have a pretty good working knowledge of all of IT to be able to come up with these creative solutions that, a user may come up and say, I need this. And a cybersecurity person would look at it and they'll say, absolutely not. That is, we're not going to do that. But if you're well-rounded enough, you're like, well, we can't exactly do this, but I think we can accomplish it by doing this, this, or this. Or what exactly are you trying to accomplish, and what are your expectations, and how can we get there? I think that's a far better answer than just being like, nope, and going on with your day. Although that does make your day go by pretty quickly, and probably your career. But
I think this might lead into a future topic that we talk, but understand that also help people understand that cybersecurity is not all technical solutions. There are paper, policy, procedure solutions to some issues.
True. All right, everybody. Well, I am looking at my adult sand timer, which is basically the amount of booze I have left in the jar, and it's almost out. So I think that's time to wrap it up. Thanks for sticking with us. I hope you join us for our next episode. And until then, this is definitely not Ben, but this is Jason.
This is not Jason. This is Ben.
Jonathan.
I think I'm Tony. I'm pretty sure.
All right, well, we're all thoroughly confused. So hopefully we'll figure it out, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cue Twilight Zone.
This is Jason. This
This is Jason.
I'm Spartacus.
We're all Ben tonight.
I was gonna say this has been fun, but then it came out as this has been Jason.